And speaking of artsy films, we've got the 1993 film Falling Down, as requested by Nico. Please give us a short plot synopsis.
Alright, so Falling Down is the story of my average commute to work. It features Michael Douglas, a man down on his luck as he travels home on the perilous streets of LA, slowly increasing his arsenal and encountering a cast of kooky characters like a Korean, gangbangers, and Tanner, until our hero, who just wants to see his daughter on her birthday, is maliciously gunned down by the police.
Dude, I'm Michael Douglas, not that Nazi in the supply store.
Incorrect.
Fact, Detective Price states he can't translate for Mr. Lee because he is Japanese and Lee is Korean, but in real life, Price is Korean and Lee is Chinese.
Wow.
So, like, both of those are characters, when they got accused, someone said, oh, aren't you this? And they said, no, I'm that. They actually were that, so.
Oh, that's funny.
I love that.
Phrenology wins again or something, I don't know.
Alright, so I'm giving this film an A. How about you, Dylan?
I'm giving it an A.
Wow. How about you, Tanner?
I'm at an S-.
Wow. Jackson, how about you?
You guys like this movie a lot more than me. I have it at a B- or a B+ right now.
I had a feeling, you piece of shit.
Damn.
Still thought it was good. I wasn't crazy about it, though.
Dude, so I like this movie quite a bit. I think it just does such a good job of capturing this sort of specific element of the American psyche, I suppose. Mm-hmm. This is definitely a vibes movie. It's got great atmosphere. I really like our characters, especially our main guy and our detective, and how they, are two sides of the same coin, where one person decides to be driven mad by the world around him and the other decides to fight through it,
Yeah.
My biggest positive is I think the ending is fantastic. I loved the ending, just that ending conversation between them and then him dying in suicide by cop.
Yeah.
Going into the last, however many minutes, I was like, okay, the best bow to put on this is to have him kill himself. And doing a suicide by cop is even better than him, like, blowing his own brains out. It was great.
Yeah,
also,
just that last line of, like, I would have won.
No, I was going to say the last line of, I'm the bad guy?
Oh, yeah.
How did that happen? Dude, oh my god, I fucking loved that shit, dude. I just think this movie is so good at being introspective about, sort of... the fast-paced capitalist world we all live in. And I know that I usually say that shit like this is gay, but for whatever reason,
I was expecting you to do it here, too.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I like the way this movie pulls it off.
Tanner liking a movie with a large amount of social commentary. That's a new one.
Oh, yeah.
Who thought we'd
Maybe it's
ever
just
see the
because
day?
he starts killing people in response to it.
Yeah. I'm going to say my biggest flaw with this movie, and I have this issue with a lot of movies we watch, and it's mostly that, like, it feels very on rails in some regards. Specifically, a lot of things just feel kind of forced. Like, we have all these scenes of just these random fucking people being aggro towards him, and granted, he's in LA, so, the hit rate of that kind of makes sense. But it just happens, like, every fucking scene is just some other fucking guy being a dick to him randomly, and him being a psycho as, like, a result. And it just feels very unnatural to me for the most part, but... outside that, I think it's fun.
What times does that really happen? Because it's only like the gang members and then like the random guy outside the phone booth.
I think it's mostly just like him in general just being like dragged into all of these scenarios as a whole is what makes it mostly feel unnatural, I would say. Maybe I'm not entirely... what I'm trying to say is like, just the scenarios he gets put in general, I guess, don't feel super realistic and feel kind of like we're just like watching some events happen continuously. I'm not doing a great job explaining my gripe here, but it was kind of like a vibes thing when I was watching it. I was just like, this is kind of fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I can't fault the movie for it, because I don't think it's a detractor. The thing is, he was writing the line of being righteous and self-righteous at the same time. I do think there was still a twinge of he is some kind of psycho, because there are definitely ways... Tanner kind of said it's two sides of the same coin. There are definitely ways to handle situations, especially the situations that happen in this movie, but the way that this guy decides to go about it is matching force with more excessive force. And, at the end of the day, people will be like, oh, this guy was just a true patriot. He was showing, like, this is our country and people are coming here to take advantage of us. And that's kind of what the big rant at the beginning of the movie was. It was like, I think it was more so he was targeting inflation, which I thought was kind of funny, but he still fucked up that guy's store regardless. But yeah, I just remember constantly thinking throughout this movie, I was like, all right, I don't think this guy is necessarily overreacting, but to say that he's not psycho for his reaction
shooting
would
up
be...
the phone booth isn't a slight overreaction to that minor.
That's the other,
he's
like...
absolutely a fucking psychopath.
That's the other, like, aspect of this movie is like, as his arsenal grew, so did his aggression and his, like, fits of rage. But, which I thought was also an interesting concept, because you'd be like, oh, yeah, well, that just makes sense. Of course he would grow more aggressive as his arsenal grew. But, like, at the fucking burger shop, for example, I think that was probably his biggest display of fucking psycho behavior, because is it a little ridiculous that it's like when he checked the time, like, oh, of course, it's 7 minutes past the time they stopped serving breakfast. I think it's a bit ridiculous on both sides, but no, that for sure was, like, the biggest, like, example of overreaction by psycho behavior. But it just, I think one thing this movie was trying to point out is, like, you can choose to react one of two ways. Obviously, there's more ways, but you can react one of two ways. You can be cool with what's happening and just move on and live your life. Or, I guess you could take a psycho stand, which, this guy just kept getting wilder with his psycho outbursts. But I didn't necessarily dock the movie for that. I just think it was a progression of watching this guy slip further and further into insanity. You could even see it reflected in his phone calls with his fucking ex-wife, where he was just kind of silent at first and non-confrontive, and then as the movie went on, you could see him becoming more abrasive, more aggressive, more confrontive, until eventually you get to the very, very end, where he's like, yeah, you never believe it, this place that we used to always go to for ice cream or whatever, it's gone now. I thought that scene was fucking really well put together too, where it was like a snap of realization for the ex-wife, and she like fucking throws the phone, grabs her daughter, and runs, and he like that was like his cue, like hit some kind of psycho killer instinct like snapped into place, and he fucking took off. But yeah, I agree. I think the plot of this movie was great. I thought the acting was very good, and I just liked the way that this movie progressed personally.
This guy, the character that is a fucking insane victim to the past. I feel like a lot of the actions he has are very centered around just the fact that he can't move on about things changing, which I think is interesting and very consistent throughout. I think the main guy's motivations behind what he's doing, obviously he's a fucking psycho, so it's hard to truly understand what he's thinking because he's crazy, but he's very consistent in his ideals and the way he's going about doing things, I would say, which makes him a very interesting character to follow, because generally speaking, you can kind of assume what he's going to do in any scenario, which I like. He's just a fun guy to watch on screen. I also do think this movie is kind of like Fargo more than I would have expected to, where they've got the fucking shenanigans, crazy A plot, and then we go and cut to the fucking police trying to figure out the mystery B plot, and then it all converges in the very end with our, one of the main guys from the crazy plot being shot by the cop.
Yeah, and it's definitely fun that, like, he doesn't see his actions as being bad. He thinks that, yeah, this is, like, a decently reasonable thing, where, like, he's constantly, like, resenting it when people are, like, viewing him negatively, where, like, the shopkeeper thinks he's a thief, or, like, the pool boy and, like, his family thinks that, like, he's gonna hurt them and stuff like that. It's like, no, he just thinks, like, hey, I'm just, like, trying to point out the injustices of this world, okay? Like, this shit's fucked up, alright? I'm not, like, a bad person or anything like that. Or when, like, when he's, like, not necessarily robbing, but, like, fucking holding up the fast food place, it's like, when he sees it, like, oh, people are fucking scared of me, he, like, starts trying to, like, make light of the situation. Like, hey, that person, she just, like, threw up or whatever, guess they don't like the special sauce, And then, like, he eventually realizes, okay, this is, like, I'm definitely going way out of the social norms here. Hey, you know what? Nix the breakfast. I'll just take a lunch, never mind. But then, things keep fucking setting him off, because just the way the world works, it ain't exactly how it seems it should be. He just constantly keeps getting fed these these lies that he's getting real fed up with.
Maybe I'm off base on this too, but I feel like this is also like the early 90s, so maybe the understanding of this wasn't fully what it is now, but like maybe there's some parallels of him being some form of like autistic or something. The fucking very intro scene definitely was like he's having like an overstimulation moment, and that's kind of what like ticked it off. He doesn't like have like all the social understanding of these cues, and he's just like reacting to things that way because of it.
It is quite insane. I kind of said this during my talk, but it is quite insane how being stuck in the past has driven him so much in this movie, because like Nico said, how like in the past everything was for him and how many, drawbacks he's taking when he's talking to these people. It's weird because it's almost a patriotic like feeling, but like it's just a very aggressive patriotic feeling. It definitely had me like questioning whether he was right or wrong closer to the beginning of the movie, and then like I said, as time progressed, he very much spiraled into psychosis. But that's also why I enjoyed the movie, because it did make me question it for at least a brief moment before I realized this guy is actually just a fucking psycho. But yeah.
I mean, in ways, he is like a victim of the system as well. We see that, like, he was laid off from his job because he was deemed non-economically viable, all that kind of shit, where it's like, I guess not educated enough or, like, overskilled, who the fuck knows? They just fucking laid me off one day. And we see that, like, he went through the divorce and all that kind of stuff, and, like, the judge ended up just, like, putting a restraining order on him, even though like his wife says, it's like, well, I mean, he didn't ever hurt us, but like, the judge wanted to like make an example out of him and stuff like that. And so it's just fucked up, dude. It's fucked what he's had to go through, and as a result, he has not taken all of this very well.
Well, actually, she confirmed that he never hurt the daughter. It was kind of left to be interpreted that he could have hurt her, because when the cop was like, did he ever hurt you? She kind of hesitated, smiled, and she's not exactly.
She said no, but she feels like he could have.
Yeah, she was just threatened by him.
Yeah.
Which is kind of valid with, like, like some of, like, the family clips, too, that he was watching in the house. You can see him acting a little fucking deranged in those a bit, too, and was making the wife uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of moments like that, which makes you think, like, how the fuck did he even get this chick and have a daughter with her in the first place?
I mean, we only really see that in, like, the last clip. And all the previous ones, they seem just kind of like a happy family. So I think that you could come to some sort of idea that, like, well, by that point in, like, that last video, it's kind of when their marriage was starting to fall apart, which is when he starts kind of, like, acting out a bit more in that sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this movie really leaves a lot of room for personal interpretation, like how, like, whether you think he's just crazy or if you think he's very intentionally choosing to do these things out of, like, a sense of injustice, and whether you think he's right or wrong for those things. And with the wife, towards the end, I feel like you can kind of see in her face where she's like, fuck, was he always like this, or did by divorcing him, did I set him off,
Right.
Some of the negatives I have, it's a pretty loose like story structure, I suppose, where it is, you're flowing through it, seeing different things, you're seeing these different like encounters with different people all over the place, which isn't necessarily a negative, but I did feel it could be tightened up a bit more. I wrote down under my negatives the word insurance. I think that might just be a reference to him saying, oh, if you kill me, at least my family will get the insurance money, which I thought was a stupid line and also not how life insurance works. But I might have been referring to something else. I'm not totally sure on that one. But yeah, very few negatives overall. I just really, really like this movie.
It is a very solid time. We
haven't talked about this at all. Mm-hmm. I'm going to cut your ass off, Nico. Okay. About like the parallels with him and the cop that's chasing him down, like with his relationship with his wife and him working it out because she's a fucking psycho. Yeah. He's kind of the psycho in his relationship, and I think that's cool. They can make it work and fit in with their purpose in life, even with the, I guess, restrictions or things they have to work around. I do like that parallel.
I also do like that we see that, like, you know, sometimes when you're out there just being based and red-pilled, you're going to draw support from some unsavory crowds, and, you know...
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes the only thing you can really do there is kill them.
Yeah, I thought that was wild. When he fucking killed him, I was like, oh, dude, they're... Well, and then once that guy started acting aggressive to him, I was like, oh, no, this guy's signing his own death certificate at this point. Here we go.
Yeah, that was definitely the point of no return for him, where, like, you did just kind of murder that man.
To be fair, he was about to, like, rape him or something, so...
That I got those vibes.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna go one of two routes. He was either gonna, like, try... Well, I knew he was gonna die either way, but I was like, this man's either gonna try to rape him or he's gonna try to subdue him, but I was feeling the rapey vibes, so that was a bit awkward.
Yeah, there are also just, like, a lot of really fun interactions with characters throughout the film as well. Like, that scene with, like, the panhandler, the beggar dude who's, like, trying to fucking extort him out of just, like, literally anything. It's, like, initially it starts like, hey, can I have some money? And it spirals into, look, just give me fucking anything. I don't care what it is, just give me something. I should get something from you.
He did a
Dude,
great job deflecting.
Yeah.
yeah, that was... He fucking logicked the shit out of him. What that scene told me is that homeless people are scam artists, though.
That's what you don't give to homeless people, because, like, you can't trust them, man. You can't trust them.
Oh, don't
Yeah,
worry, I
Facts,
don't.
dude.
There's that scene with, like, the rocket launcher as well, where he, like, fucking blows up the construction
That
site.
shit was so
and
funny.
that little kid just, like, walks up and is, like, telling him how to fucking use the thing.
That was so
Which
fucking
is
gold.
a great bit of, like, commentary there as well.
Yeah.
With, like, what is television teaching our children?
My only
Yeah.
thing was, like, when they were trying to go through the scene, it's like, oh, well, I'm shooting a movie. And they're like, what's your movie called? And just getting way too into it and how casual everybody... I'm surprised nothing more happened out of that scene besides he shot a fucking rocket and it blew something up at the end of the street. I'm shocked that's all that happened there. But, you know.
Dude, was it really that easy to commit heinous crimes back in 1990?
Dude, it had to have been.
When you're white, yes.
Hell yeah. I do like that a lot of this could have been prevented if people could give him or more of a description of this guy than he's just some generic white guy that's wearing a shirt and a tie.
Yeah, exactly.
That bit was so stupid. I hated
Which is
it, but I didn't.
That's also definitely some more social commentary too about
Yeah.
like they definitely are not trying to be subtle about the differences in the way like black and white people are being treated or like minorities in general compared to our main guy, because like if he was black he probably would have been caught a lot sooner than you know he did.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we see that, you know, the guy protesting, the non-economically viable dude, who's like, he's just wearing the exact same outfit as our main boy
Yeah.
is here, and
Yeah.
he just gets immediately arrested for fucking protesting, so...
Our main character fucking had basically committed, I don't think he killed anyone yet, but, you know, he's been doing some fucking crazy shit up until that point and just gets away with it, even though that guy, all he's doing is just protesting and he gets fucking arrested.
Yeah, what's crazy is that the only death to have happened by this guy's hands throughout the whole movie was that one Nazi guy, and everybody else either killed themselves or harmed themselves. I don't think he actually ever caused bodily harm to anybody else.
I mean, he fucking hit somebody over with a bat.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, those are the same people that probably killed themselves in the car crash, so that's what I was counting.
He arguably killed that guy on the golf course that needed that medicine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that
100%
is
too.
fair. That's an indirect kill. I forgot about that.
He had an option to fucking go and get that stuff back from it. He told him to just fucking die. Have fun with that, buddy. He should have
Dude,
been
I
nicer
don't-
to me.
I don't know. That scene was like one of the ones that made me question. Was he based for like saying what he said about the fucking golf courses? Like this could be like public property, or do you think that was kind of fucked up?
See, that was one of the pieces of commentary where I'm like, nah, this one I think is kind of stupid. Like protesting the existence of golf courses.
Yeah, that's
it's
kind of what
private
I
land
was.
they're paying for, so who cares? The
Yeah.
guy definitely was acting a little rashly, but, you know, he definitely didn't deserve to die for it.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I think to some degree there, he was just, like, kind of saying whatever, because he's just, like, fucking pissed that he drove a ball at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, the old white guy shouldn't have been a fucking dick either, though. To be completely fair, like it was
True.
uncalled for behavior on both sides, in my opinion.
He's paying for the membership. He can drive his ball at any damn well ne'er-do-well he wants to.
That's just fucking boomer mentality. That's not even boomer at that time period, but you know, you get what I'm saying. That's how those people think.
True. Another fun fact for this film, it was originally meant to be like just shooting on location, just like throughout LA, but then the LA riots happened, so they couldn't do that anymore.
Very funny.
It would have been fitting.
Very true. They should have just like shot a lot of riots.
That, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if they caught any flack for releasing this movie that year.
It's tough to say.
Could be.
I liked it though. I was about to say I liked it though movie. I liked the movie though. It was very solid. I'm still sticking with an A, I think.
I think I'm gonna raise it up to an A minus. I did, for context, watch this movie literally today.
Okay.
So I didn't have as much time to let it simmer as the rest of them.
Yeah, I think I'm sticking with an A. This movie was quite good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with my S minus.
Hell yeah.
There we go.
And it lands at an A overall.
Who said
Fantastic.
Dylan and Nico can't agree? Who says we have differentiating media opinions? Who?
No one says that because that's not how you use the word differentiating.